Hey there, everybody. Hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are in the world. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to wherever you're watching this from. And this is going to be a small talk on mistakes. Now, as we all know, we all make mistakes on a day-to-day basis. It can be minute ones. It can be uh, life-changing ones that can impact our life in the long run. And yeah, it's very difficult to deal with them. It's very difficult to cope with the consequences of those mistakes on a day-to-day basis because sometimes the repercussions and the consequences are much more greater than the mistake that was made. And this could be in any form, in terms of relationships, in terms of careers, opportunities, goals and dreams, you know and it really resonates with you, and it really touches you to your core, impacts you to your core, because these mistakes that affect you this way on a much grander scale aren't really ones that are light per se, because it's relating to something that you've been through. It's relating to something that you've always wanted or longed for, and you've made the mistake of choosing differently or choosing otherwise and going on a different path when you were supposed to be on a specific path. And whether that be for responsibility purposes, finance purposes, or maybe you thought it wasn't a logical choice to be or to do at that time or at that point in time and phase in your life, it it still hurts, even though you thought you did the right thing, the quote unquote right thing, which is fine. I mean, at the end of the day, it's circumstantial. It's circumstantial. You have to adapt to your situations. You have to adapt to, your reality, whatever your status is, whatever your circumstances are, and you have to act accordingly. Because we can't expect the world or life to bend over backwards and just give us our way and do things the way we want to, right? So I'm gonna work like that. Never has and it never will. Well, I can't say or I can't speak for everybody, but that's how it has been for me for the most part. In terms of careers, in terms of relationships, in terms of changes and directions of paths that I'm supposed to be going towards. And yeah, and speaking from personal experience, I've made a lot of mistakes myself, you know, getting into relationships where I shouldn't have gotten into or that I shouldn't have gotten into. And even in the process of being in a relationship, the mistake of, outpouring and giving everything to the person I'm in a relationship with instead of, leaving some for myself, so that in a case where the person leaves, I won't be that completely shattered or that completely empty because I didn't give everything away. Not just in terms of monetary aspects and not just in terms of materialistic aspects, but also in relation to my time, my effort, uh, you know, the just the emotional investment and the fact of allowing yourself to be vulnerable to that specific person. That in and of itself is way more heavier than any of the any of the monetary or materialistic values, because that one, as much as it is hard to earn back, you can earn it back. The thing that you can't really earn back is your time, your effort, your your moments of vulnerability which were taken for granted. You can't really get that back, and how it affected you in the process. So I've done that. I've been through that. Even though it wasn't really any like serious relationships, it was kind of like, you know, nonchalant, or as they say, puppy love. So yeah, it still hit me to my core because, I gave it my all. And in the process, it ended up in nothing. But of course, sometimes things don't work. and that's why you should leave some for yourself so that you won't feel as empty, or you should love yourself first, and then jump into relationships, because that was the other mistake that I did in terms of relationships, is that I didn't give a damn, or I didn't care about myself at all. All I wanted to do, or all I wanted to prioritize, was the other person's happiness and the other person's, needs and goals and wants, pushing them to be the best that they can be, which is not bad at all. But then, I mean, at the end of the day, if they leave, you're left with nothing. And it only got me to hate myself even more because of that. So, yeah, enough of my horrible love life, past history and stuff. In terms of dreams, it pretty much went the same way. I prioritized what needed to be done. I prioritized other people's needs instead of mine. And I prioritized, other people's necessities in terms of finances, in terms of time and effort, in terms of the path that I want to choose. I never really did it for myself. I mean, honestly, if if I didn't make all of those mistakes, I wouldn't be talking to you about such a detailed and descriptive, talk about mistakes. But I've done a lot of them, and I've regretted every single one of them. But uh, let's put some positivity into this very pessimistic and negative talk. These mistakes have shaped me. It's in a way made me realize that perhaps I did the right thing in the end. Perhaps I could have done things a little bit better. Going or looking back at it now, I could have done things a little bit better. I could have acted a little more smarter. I could have acted smarter rather. I could have been more wiser in the sense of my decisions and what I was prioritizing. And I could have, thought of myself, because at the end of the day, ah, sorry, at the end of the day, when you're when you're down in the dumps, and when you're going through life, life goes on. Everybody moves on along with life. They get relationships. They chase after their dreams. They get after that. So nobody is really gonna be that concerned, or you know, that empathetic towards you, because life goes on. You know, you fail, you get back up, and if it never works, then plainly at some point in some time, it might have been my fault, or it was my fault, because at the end of the day, looking it back right now, I made the mistake of not prioritizing my dreams. I wanted to become an author, I wanted to become a writer, a poet, whatever you may call it. And I never really prioritized that, because people said it was nonsensical, people said it didn't have a future, blah blah blah, and so on. And yeah, it led me to go down in different paths, different career paths, different industries that I didn't really like. Even though people said I was doing a decent job or were good at it, I didn't really feel that, or I didn't really, really, you know, felt it in my being that I was doing something worthwhile, that I was doing something good, and it never really resonated with me that way. And so I've made wrong choices. I've made a lot of mistakes that I've regretted ever since. But one thing that I learned is that these mistakes, as much as it hurts, it's necessary to build your character. It's necessary to build who you are. It's necessary to to mold you into the person that you were supposed to be, or that you dream of being. You know, and I realized that it's it's not always bad to make mistakes. You know, we normally get scolded at and shunned when we were kids for making mistakes in school and so on. But at the end of the day, as a wise man once said, you make the most mistakes that you can make in order for you to learn the best way that you can pursue that certain career, passion, relationship, whatsoever. That's how you grow, that's how you persevere, that's how you become become better every day. It's by making mistakes. And that's the one important thing that you should never forget is that it's all a part of the learning process. It's all a part of life. You learn, you fall, you learn, you get back up, you try again. You learn, you fall, you get back up, you try again. You learn, you fall, you learn, you get back up, you try again. I'm messing up the sequence, but yeah, it's just, it's important not to take it to heart. It's important not to dwell on it, but carry it with you. Let it be a reminder, in your head that this has been done before. I'm not going to be doing it again. I'm not going to be repeating it again because I don't want to feel that way again. And ultimately it will give you a hindsight or give you some perspective on what would be the right choice in your eyes and what would be the right choice in reality, like an unbiased lens. Ultimately, I believe that everything shapes us, especially the hard times, more so the hard times and difficult times, because that's where we truly, feel the weight of our choices, the consequences of our actions and words. And in turn, we learn, not to do it again. We learn how to improve on it. We learn how to approach it in a different way. And I feel like that will get you where you want to be in, or where you want to be at someday. It may not be now, may not be a few years down the line, it may not be, you know, decades down the line, but you'll get there someday. I'm struggling with that, or I guess I'm just trying to tell that to myself as well because I'm struggling with the fact of regrets and stuff, and resenting myself, resenting my choices when I really shouldn't. Because if like I said, if I hadn't gone through that, if I didn't make those mistakes, I wouldn't be here talking to you and trying to give you some insight on how to grow, and I wouldn't have grown myself. So at the end of the day, I take it as a positive aspect. It helped me grow. It helped me become the person that I am today. As little and as unpopular as I am online and everywhere else, I'm focusing on trying to just be a symbol of hope, or be that light at the end of the tunnel, telling people that, hey, I've done this. I'm pretty sure you've made mistakes in your past. Don't let it affect you, and don't be like me where you dwell on it for who knows how many years and carry it with you as a burden and treat yourself as a resentment. Learn from it, grow from it, and move past it. I had to learn the hard way, and it basically put my life to a halt. So don't let that happen to you, because I know that it may be painful, but you're more than capable of overcoming it. You're more than capable of growing past the regrets, the heartaches, the resentment, and you're more than capable of, growing from it and becoming the person that you want to be. So yeah, I'll leave it with that, or I'll leave it at that. But yeah, hope you have a great day, guys. Hope this talk was useful somewhat, even though like 80% of it was just basically a subtle rant. But yeah, take care, guys. Thanks for watching.